Next, you want to go to the Learn tab, and it's going to give you some options. You want to go to Lessons. You want to scroll down to see all lessons. We're going to reopen that lesson that we closed out a little bit earlier because that just makes sense where to start. It's called Learning the Moves. So you want to click on Learning the Moves. The way these lessons work, over here on the left, give it a minute to load. So it's going to pre-populate what it wants you to do. Over here on the left are some instructions. Let me move out of the way so you can see. You read the instructions here. It says Learning the Moves. You want to click Next, and it will give you the instructions. Make sure you read the instructions and do exactly what it says. Instruction 1, drag the light brown construction to the area outlined in orange. So I'm going to grab the light brown construction by left-clicking on the mouse. I'm going to drag it in to the highlighted area, and then I'm going to click Next. And then it'll give me some stars saying I did it. If I hit Reset, you're going to notice that one of the things with tinkercad is, let's reset that lesson just to show you how not to do it. If I just click Next and I don't do it, it's still going to say congratulations. So it's in your best interest to read the directions and not just click Next, Next, Next through the instructions. So over here is the key, this left side of the screen. And you can retry the lesson as many times as you want if you need to by just clicking Reset. The lesson will reload. Obviously, this is a very simple lesson. So I read the directions, drag the light brown area. I already did it a couple times. I click Next. When I click Done, it's going to ask me if I want to continue to the next lesson, Camera Controls. Camera Controls tells you how to do this with the View Cube. Again, over here, this shows you the number of instruction steps. You can get a little overview of what you're going to do. You're going to learn to look around. You're going to learn to zoom. You're going to let's look around faster. You're going to get a congratulations. Now, I could just click Next and not do any of this stuff, and I'm not going to really learn. Okay, so I don't want to do that. Reset again. What I want to do instead is I want to click Next, and I want to read what it says to do. So read it. It says, while creating designs, it helps to be able to see your designs from all sides. Let's learn how you can change your view. Can you rotate your view to see who's behind the curtain? The View Cube located on the top left of tinkercad will help you when looking around. Instructions. Just drag anywhere in the View Cube and you will see how it changes the point of view. Try pressing the top corners of the View Cube until you see who is behind the curtain. So I'm going to look. I can find different sections on this View Cube that light up in blue. If I click here, I can see who's behind the curtain. If I check the corners, it helps me to see what's going on there. So that View Cube is my friend for looking around. And then learning to zoom. If you have a mouse, if you're on a classroom computer, you can use the mouse. If you have a touchpad, you can, with a Chromebook, you can pinch So I'm going to zoom in, click next. Now you can just use the mouse pad. So press and hold your right mouse button. This is 2 fingers on a Chromebook. So if you just use 2 fingers, it helps you move around a little faster. 2 fingers and slide. Click next. Another thing you can do is, like if I zoom in, I can always click on a shape and click F for focus, and it'll help focus me on just that shape. So if I want to get a closer look at something, I can do that. When I've completed the lesson, I'll click Done and continue to creating holes. The creating holes lesson is pretty important. You're going to use that when you do most of your design, so take your time with this one. So again, little table of contents here, how to create holes, how to group the shapes. I click next, it tells me what to do. It says drag a blue polygon. Get rid of my face here. It says drag a blue polygon to the work plane in the area outlined in orange. There's also hints here if I'm not sure. You may need to scroll down the shapes list to find the hexagonal prism. So here are some shapes. I'm going to scroll down. There's the polygon. And I'm going to drag it and drop it into place. Now remember, from looking around, I might have a better view looking up here, so it's helping remind me of what I did in the last lesson. If I ever mess up like that, I can just hit Control Z to undo what I did. Move that in to the area. Now I have both shapes where I need them. I need to go back. Just make sure. I need to turn that shape into a hole. So I select the polygon and then I change it from a solid to a hole. And see how it becomes transparent like that. And I might need to move it a little bit. I can also use the arrow keys on the keyboard to move shapes around. And what I need to do is group them together. It says select both objects by pressing and holding the shift button, and then click each shape with your left mouse button. So I can hold down shift and you'll see both are selected. If I click anywhere on the work plane, it'll deselect them. Another thing I can do is just drag a box and it will select both shapes that way. And then group them together by clicking the group button. The group button is right up here. You can either hit Control G or click group. When I group them together, you'll see it'll cut that hole out. So make sure you take your time to do this lesson. This is an important one. Scale, copy, and paste is the next one. In this project, you'll learn how to drag, scale, copy, and paste. There's 7 steps to this one. We're going to add shapes, repeat the process, scale the cylinder, copy and paste the last shape, scale the last cylinder. So this is going to be important when we're doing our project. So you want to go through this one too. It's a little more advanced, but hopefully you're starting to feel comfortable now. So I click next to give me the instructions. It tells me what to do. Begin by finding the orange cylinder in the basic shapes list. I found it right here. Click the cylinder, drag it over to the work plane. Did that. Drop it into the area outlined in orange, and then continue to the next step. Then it says repeat the process again by dragging another orange cylinder into the work plane. Another thing I can do, if I don't want that shape there, I can just hit delete. Remember Control Z to undo anything. A shortcut is if I hold Alt and click the shape, it will copy the shape that I already have there. Click Next. Now I'm going to scale the cylinder. Click and drag the white dot on the top of the shape. Drag down to make the shape 15 millimeters. So there's a white dot here. You can see when I click on it, I'm getting a number there. I can drag it, or I can also get into this white box and I can type 15 millimeters. Exact. And click Next. We're going to add one more cylinder, it says. Select the cylinder you want to copy. It doesn't matter which cylinder you select. And again, if I just hold Alt and click, it will copy. And I'll bring it over there. Drag the new shape into the area. Outline it orange. Continue to the next step. The last cylinder needs to be 10 millimeters tall, so I click that. You see that white dot that I'm clicking is on the top. There are 5 dots, it's that top one. And I want this one to be 10. I like to type it in, it gives me more control. So I type 10 and hit enter. And then I click Next, and I just completed that lesson. Now you get to have a little fun. This is the keyring letters lesson. In this project, you learn to make a keyring using letters. Start by dragging the letters to the red base. It says, it gets you using the snap grid here. It says to make it a little easier, change the snap grid from 1.0 to 0.25. The snap grid's right here. 1.0, I go up to 0.25. After placing a letter, you can use the arrow keys. So I'm going to follow along. They want me to take the K. I can adjust it with the arrow keys. If you hit F, it'll focus you in just on the letter so you can get it really precise. And just zoom out. Click Next. Oh, I'm going to go back a step because I was supposed to put all the letters in, not just K. So I can do that from going to this menu. I can either click back or go to my table of contents and go back to step 2 because it wants me to place all the letters. So I'm going to do K, A, T, and this is good practice for moving around, moving stuff around. I, E, and I can go in, zoom in, line them up a little better. Now that I have all the letters placed, I can click Next. And it wants me to resize the base. So to do that, I'm going to click on the keychain and drag the black dot until it reaches the size of the letters. So I take this, I'm going to bring it down, drag it down until it reaches the size of the letters. Now I'm going to clean out by removing some letters, the ones I didn't use. So I'm going to take and select all these ones I didn't use and click delete. Continue to the next step. Now I'm going to group the shapes like I did when I was making a hole. Select them all and click group. Now that's become its own shape. If I were to take that, I could resize this because they've all become one shape. If at any point I mess up, I can always hit Control Z undo what I just did. And that's the keychain lesson. Die on the work plane is next. This is good because you're working in 3D, so you need to know how to move your work plane around. You can see the work plane tool up here. There's 11 steps here. The die's made, it's almost done. Move the work plane. So it tells you all the things to do right here. First thing I'm going to do, look around the cube, it says. So you see that the die is almost done. 2, 3, and 4 are there. 1 is there. I'm going to just add the remaining numbers. So I'm going to do that by using the work plane tool. I'm going to drag the work plane tool to the front of the die. So I'm going to grab it. You can see it's highlighted where he wants me to drag it. I'm going to drag the work plane tool, leave it there, and you'll see it changes the work plane. Then I'm going to come down to my numbers. Place the number 5. I'm going to switch basic shapes to text and numbers. Go to the next page. Where are those numbers? I miss them. I missed them somewhere. There they are. I'm going to take a 5 and drag it right to the place that I want it. Click next. The 5 is sitting in front of the die, so we need to make some adjustments. We're going to scale down the thickness to 1 millimeter so that it matches the area. Again, I'm going to change the snap grid to 0.25, and then I'm going to scale it down. So I'm going to turn to the sides, just like we did in our cylinders lesson. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to scale it down to 1 millimeter. It makes it narrower and fit right inside the die like the other numbers. And then continue to the next step. Rinse and repeat. I'm going to now drag the work plane to the top of the die. So I can also press W to move the work plane. So if I press W, it'll let me reposition the work plane up here. You can see now the work plane's at the top of my die. I'm going to come down. Once I move the work plane, that's going to add the number 6. I'm going to drag it over, drop it right there. Click next, make it shorter. I'm going to scale the 6 down. You know, it's good to look around and make sure you have that right dot. I want to also make the 6 a 1 and shrink the 6 down. Looks like I need to reposition it a little bit. Alright, click next. And then I'm going to drag the work plane to a blank area. Again, I can hit W or click the work plane tool up here. Drag it to a blank area, that puts it back at the bottom. And then I'm going to group all the shapes together. So I zoom out so I can select everything. And I'm going to hit my group tool and group them all together to make one big group. So now I've completed the die. Click next. And congratulations, I'm done. And so those are the lessons that I want you to complete. They give you a basic overview of working with tinkercad. Please play back the video and try these. And then it says to go back to the project page. You can pick any 2 projects that you like off the project page and go through them using that same method. So feel free to go through, check the projects, and pick any 2.